So I'm really excited to introduce Drew Mattison, but real quick, he's going to be talking about build a change activation plan, design tools and visualization to build your change playbook. And he is the Senior Vice President at XPLANE. So I'm going to set him up in just a second and say, Drew, will you please share with us your favorite quote regarding change? And let's give him a round of applause.
No worries. Hi. I'll get to the quote in a second. I actually expected about 10 of you. So I'm really excited. I know that I'm basically standing between, drinks in the pool. So we had, the plan for this room was to be in tables so we could do some work. And we had also been told that there would be about 140 as capacity, clearly past that. So there's sheets that a lot of you have, some of you don't. I apologize in advance. We're going to be working together, so hopefully you can pair up with someone who has those sheets, and then feel free to drop us your card. All of this stuff will be available. We can get it to you. It's available on our website. It's all shareable information. So we still have some people trickling in, so I'll go ahead and get started while they're wandering in. So we had the option. You could have your bio read, or you could do a favorite quote. So I have a client. We'll call him John, because that's his name. And so John is the chief data officer for a major bank. They're sizable. And John is a very large man, both in presence and personality. And typically any room that he's in, he's probably 3 times smarter than anyone else there. But he's very humble, and he listens very, very well, and he captures a lot of the information. And when I first started working with him, I said, John, help me understand, like, you come from a data background. I mean, you're all about process and the lean and moving information through very systematically. Why are you working with XPLANE? Because we kind of, we do stuff that deals with people and change. And he said, Drew, I could show you the littered path of 8-figure plus programs that failed because we didn't take into account the human side of change. And that was, to me, that was like, okay, this is an executive who gets it, right? So part of what we want to do today is show how we can build an activation plan to help show all the other executives who don't, right? Does that make sense? Everybody cool with that? All right. So, let's try this. There we go. It's fancy technology. So what are we going to get from today? Very quickly, I think it's important that we kind of understand why you guys are here. So 2 things, understanding of what an activation plan could look like, and then essentially a draft plan that you guys can take and use for your current change challenges, or as a template to build one of your own. And so why does this matter for us today? Obviously, speaking in a room of change agents within their organizations, I was kind of reflecting on what Dan Pink said yesterday about this, the parity of information, right? And in order to sell what the change needs to be, you need to have a plan, right? I think that's one of the most crucial things that we can build. There's all the process you can put in place, but you need to have a plan on how you're going to activate that. So that's really what I want to do today, because that's what the executives need. They need to be able to see that and understand how you're going to get from point A to point B. And then the audience, the people that you need to incorporate into that change, that you need to have different behaviors and do things differently, they need to understand why. And so this is a systematic way to help them get through that. So first, I'd like to do a quick icebreaker, if we can. You guys should have some cards, little note cards like this. Everybody, yes? Maybe? If not, just draw on your hand, it's fine. So we're going to do, so XPLANE, we are very interactive, very engaging, and we have very technical terms when it comes to doing stuff. So I'd ask you to fold your card in what we like to call the hamburger fold, as opposed to the hot dog fold, right? So do the hamburger fold, if you would. So we're actually going to get you guys to do some drawing just a little bit today. Is everybody excited? At least nod your head. Come on, guys. This is the end of the day. All right, yes? Excited? All right. Woo! Yeah, giddy up. All right. So on one side, put your name. If you'd like to do a little, caricature of yourself, feel free. Maybe draw somebody else who's sitting beside you, make fun of them a little bit. That's cool. And then on the other side, what I'd like you to do is just very quickly draw draw, no words, draw your change superpower. That's right. What is your superpower with change? I still have people looking at me like, what are you talking about? Don't be afraid. Everyone can draw. Doesn't have to be perfect. It can be whatever you want it to be. What is the thing that you, as a change agent, as a leader of change, the implementer of change within your organization, what is that thing that you bring to your organization? What is that superpower? I'm still getting looks. Either you don't have a card, a marker, or you're just like, there's no way I'm drawing a picture right now. It's not happening. Couple more seconds. Everybody's like, I got my name down. Still looks like this on the back. Okay, because we have like 30 more seconds this whole presentation. Turn to your neighbor, preferably the one you didn't come in with or someone you don't know. Introduce yourself, tell them your superpower. Ready? Go. Go. Say hello. Did anybody have, it's out of control. So, did anybody have a cape? Raise your hand. Did anybody's superpower involve a cape? I'm not doing jazz hands. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Superpowers. Did anybody have a cape? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The cape is the way to go. I always draw it with a cape. It's awesome. Thank you for indulging me on that. We use this all the time in all of our sessions, and it's great when you can put executives from a Fortune 100 company in a room and you're getting them drawing their superpower. Immediately, the tension in the room goes away, and suddenly everybody's working on the same level. So it's a great way to just start to push the creative mind a little bit and get to a different space to think about how we can drive some change. So I want to go through very quickly some of the background of how we get to an activation plan. If any of you were in the session yesterday with my colleagues, Stephanie and Eric, some of this will look familiar. I'll walk through it very briefly so that it can set us up for our work on the activation plan, okay? So how does your change get mapped? So what we did is we took a number of the different, several different change processes that are out in the market today, and we put them all together just to kind of see how they would compare. And what this tells us essentially is that there are a number of different ways to do it, but they all have varying similarities, right? And so at the end of the day, it's what is that particular process that's going to work best for your organization? But the thing that we found is that they're all designed to be very broad in nature, right? So it's going to work for an aerospace company as well as it'll work for a card manufacturer or a healthcare provider, right? They're very broad and generic, which is great. We wanted to approach it from a standpoint of, okay, once you've made that decision on what process you'd like to go through, how do you make it unique for your organization, and what are the pieces that you need to put in place in order to bring that to life, right? So we developed what we call the change lever. So how many were you in the session yesterday? Saw the change lever? Okay, excellent. All right, a bunch of new faces. So happy to take some time later, walk through this in a ton of detail, but from a very high level, we want to look at, on the left-hand side is essentially this idea of you want your organization to move from where you are today through into a future state, right? Whatever that may be, very straightforward. And then we'll talk in a second about the dimensions that make up that that organism of your organization. Along the bottom is what I think is probably the most unique point of this, having an engineering background, the fulcrum of what is your organization's capacity to manage and handle that change, right? So think about that from a lever standpoint. If your organization is very adaptive, like they're ready to go, they're moved, they're very agile from the standpoint of accepting change, you don't need to put a lot of pressure in an activation in order to move them, right? But, as I'm sure all of us have either faced or dealt with or in the middle of, some of our organizations tend to be a little stagnant, right? So the amount of pressure that you need in order to elevate that to the future state becomes very difficult. And so a lot of things have to be put into place in order to activate that change, right? So when we think about the left-hand side, we like to think about what are the dimensions of that organization. So taking into account all the 8 different dimensions of behavior, talent, systems, tools. So we think about it of an organization as an organism, right? That's why we have our change DNA, right? Those are the building blocks of an organism. So all of these things have to be in balance in order for you to move from a current state to a future state, right? If everything is good except for culture, and you're not adapting to the culture shift that needs to happen, you won't get to the future state, right? If the behaviors that need to be in place for a future state aren't recognized and adapted to, you won't get to that future state, right? So we think about these as the dimensions that need to support that left side of the lever. Then we look at the right-hand side. So this is the activation. And I've been told by my in-house counsel, i.e. Stephanie, that I'm supposed to read this disclaimer, that our curve is adapted from the Fishman-Kammerer Technology Adoption S-curve. I can't make this up, like this is real. The Patterson-Connor Commitment Curve. I'm sure those guys had fun building that. The Profit Band Assimilation Curve. And then probably Justin Verlander's slider was thrown in there too. There we go. All right, a little Detroit reference. That's where I'm from. So the idea behind this is not rocket science, right? But what we've found is that most often in organizations, they'll be like, okay, we're going to put together this great town hall, and the expectation is that event, that singular event, will catapult people from the bottom of this curve all the way to the top. Like they're going to embed it in their culture just by sitting through a workshop, right? I mean, we all know that. I'm just preaching to the choir here. That doesn't work, right? In the best case scenario, you get them to maybe move 1 or 2, if you're lucky. So we like to look at this in terms of phasing it into and it's hard to see here. For those of you who have the sheet, you can see it much more clearly. This idea of hearing it, right? So what are we communicating out? Believing in it, right? So what are we learning in order to believe that this change is appropriate for me? And then living it. So you're embedding the overall experience. So the change starts to become not a change, but the norm, right? Does this make sense? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, again, this is all available. You're welcome to take pictures of the deck. I always think that's fun. Yeah. So, what we want to do today is talk about the building blocks for putting together an activation plan, all right? So this is going to be fun because as change experts, so hopefully you guys are comfortable with change. The intent of this room, again, was to have big tables that we can all work. Now, the good news is there's lots of you. I was afraid I was going to have to ask people to move halfway across the room. So what I'd like to do is walk through the plan that we have for the worksheets. I'll give you guys directions. And then given that this room explodes into chaos when I ask you to work together, which is awesome, we'll make sure we have that in place, and then we'll go ahead and do some of the work. And then we'll have hopefully enough time for Q&A at the end. I think so. We're actually in good time here, right? 30. Awesome. All right, well, we can take our time then. That's great. So let's do this. Let's talk about what it means to consider this new approach as it relates to the activation plan. Again, if you guys were with us yesterday, you saw this. So these are the things I want you to kind of keep in mind once we give you the activation plan and the particular situations or activities that you could implement as part of that. Keep these in mind, right? from an old school to a new school approach. So from change management to sort of activating a true vision. So people are more apt to follow someone who has a vision than they are to be forced along in a change that they really don't understand or don't necessarily believe in, right? From a stakeholder buy-in to stakeholder engagement. This one I've seen firsthand, and it's amazing the difference. I'm sure you guys, again, you can appreciate that nuanced difference, but if you have to drive someone to really buy into it versus, hey, let's work on this together, and suddenly you have their engagement into it, right? They become that supporter. So old school of driving adoption to more of authentic participation. So we're big fans of bringing people into the fold, right? Let their voice be heard, have a conversation, let them help change the situation of the change so that it becomes more authentic for them. From cascading data, information, to more of co-creation. People help support what they help create, right? Think about that. It's the difference between someone putting in a garden in your backyard and telling you to go tend to it versus you planting it yourself. You will work on that, right? And then fixing gaps and problems to focusing on more of the bright spots, right? The successes. So, just calling out the things that are working well versus always honing in on what isn't and having to fix that. So let's get busy and build some canvases. So here's what I'd like to do. If you hold up, can I borrow one since they were all taken? You're not going to get it back, Sam, just so you know. It's not going to happen. So we have 2 sheets here, right? So this is the actual canvas that we're going to build from. And these are the building blocks, right? With a bunch of different pieces of information that I'll walk through in a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this in 3 parts, all right? Part 1 is we're going to fill out the top section here. So our future state, so who's the audience, future state, current state, okay? And the way I'd like you to approach this is to think about, is there a change challenge that you're dealing with? If there is, and you want to work on this individually to start, that's perfect. If you're not sure and there's somebody beside you, and we're going to get into a few groups here, work on that together. We're big fans of co-creation, and I think you guys will be very inspired by listening to others talk, right? I always hear that, like, sessions are great, we love the networking lunch, but I get the best stuff when I'm drinking vodka by the pool, talking to someone, right? Beside the vodka. Yeah, I know, right? That's next. So we're going to do that. That's going to be the first section. Then the second section, you guys should have little Post-it notes, right? So I'm going to walk through these so you have an understanding of what these are and how these work. But take an individual activity or an idea, write it on that Post-it note, and then place it on the activation curve in the area that you think it's going to best support. What area will this workshop or town hall or future state map, what will that do to move someone from here to here or a group of people from here to here for your audience, right? So we'll do that. That'll probably be a majority of the time. One second. Yeah? And then after that, what I want to do is I want to take some time and let you guys talk through those. And the reason we have the Post-it notes is so you can move them around. Right? So someone may say, hey, you know what, that's great, we tried that in our organization, but I actually found that better when we had more information embedded in the culture already. We need to move that up a little bit. So the idea is to really help sort of spark some thinking so you guys can take these and either go build your own or use the ones that you created here as templates for some change challenges you have. So yes, question?
I wasn't able to read the words on the activation curve.
Yeah, sure. Let's see if we got backwards here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so starting at the bottom, there's contact, then awareness and understanding. Then we move into believe it, so it's acceptance. You're ready to defend the idea, then you're ready to promote it. And then once you're into that, then you're into living, and so it's personalize and internalize. Then you become the passionate advocate, and then finally it's embedded in the culture. And I'm going to misquote a former client, but she says that once it's embedded in the culture, it's not the work, it's not the change you have to do, it's the work at hand. So it just becomes commonplace, right? It is what we do. It is not the change we're striving for, right? Again, this is preaching to the choir, so I'm sure you guys get that. Okay, are there any questions about this? And feel free to raise your hand and we can come around. I'm joined today by Stephanie Joya in the back, our head of consulting, and then Tracy Jones, who's head of our marketing, is here as well. So The three of us will be available to answer questions as we go through this. Are you excited? Tell me you're excited. Yes. There are no more handouts. Yeah. Is there anyone in your vicinity? We're going to do some chair. I'm going to totally mess up this room. We're going to have some fun here in a minute, all right? That's why I was waiting, because I like it. So here's what I like to do. If you are in rows 1, if you're in the odd rows, 1, so here, 3, 5, 7, or 9, you guys are to stand up, turn your chairs around, and face the people behind you, all right? Then find groups of 2 or 4 that work. They're connected. Son of a. Wow. Okay. We're going to go with plan Q. Yeah, so find a way to get into a group of 2 or 4 people. Oh, look at this. They do come apart. Take 2 minutes, find yourself into a group, and then get started on the top of this. Okay? Samuel? Here you go, my friend. We're good. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, yes. Yeah, the stage is available. Come on up. None of you have any. Holy, how did you guys not get any? Hold, please. Do you guys all have sheets? Can I steal 2? You're the best. I'm gonna get you the cool stuff. Yep, you can use your own. Yep, I know what I'll say. That's a great question. I'll give it back to you, I promise. Let's use it. So one thing I forgot to mention, as you guys are going through the list, these are just inspiration and ideas. If you have something else that's worked in your organization, by all means, put it down. This is just start from here, okay? Welcome. No. Yep. I know, right? I can get down on all fours and I can be the table.
Because I wouldn't be able to print that anymore. So how can I get that sheet in this? We were talking about how this card structure is.
We can send one to you. We could, yeah. If you want to give your card to either Stephanie or Tracy on your way out. The other thing to do is you can download them to like a PDF and you can print them at like a Kinko's or something. Yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah. That's what I do. I work from home, so that's why I print it out. Yeah. Yeah, they're on the website. But give us your card. We'll make sure you get them. Yeah. All right. So about 2 more minutes for the top portion. The current state, future state, who your audience is. Yes? For the top portion, 2 more minutes. Yep.
PDFs of these documents on the ACMP site?
I think so, yeah. We're actually seeing if we can get them right now. They're on our website, but we're going to see if we can put them on ACMP. Yeah, of course.
Are these guys just so smart that they're already moving ahead, or were you going to walk through that?
I was gonna. You're working ahead. God, you're just impossible.
I think that they're just so smart.
Well, there's that. Can you take some pictures? Whole program. Like right now we have siloed organizations, the technology is disparate. We want to go to a unified process that combines all the businesses. Something like that. Thanks. 1 more minute. And then we're gonna move to the next section. Some people are already working ahead. I won't mention any names. Those people in that corner. Oh, they're already, all right. No, it's fine. Okay, so it appears as if several people are working ahead. That's fine. The next section is to start to map the specific individual tasks or activities that you would like to do based on your audience and your current and future state along the activation curve. Some people have already started doing it. It's totally fine. If there's specific questions, raise your hand. We'll come and try and answer them. But if you'll look, hey guys, real quick, time out, real quick, jazz hands. Whatever it is. Yeah. So real quick, a couple things. A lot of people, they do not have the charts. We're going to put those up on our website. They're available there. We'll give you guys the link. We're going to maybe try and get them to the ACMP site. We're not sure how that'll work, but give your card to either Tracy or Stephanie, and we'll make sure you get those. Second of all, if you look at the list of data or the activities that are possible, it shows where those particular activities most likely. It shows where they most likely fall, right? So if it's the silver, this is in the, here, right? It's pretty straightforward. But again, and I don't know if you guys heard me the first time, these are just inspiration. If there's something else that works for you that you've seen work, put it on there. That's what we want to do. So go ahead and fill those out. And then the last activity we're going to do, so feel free to work ahead, since you already are, is once you guys have that filled out, talk amongst yourselves and then start to move them around, right? That's really where we want to go with that. Last interruption that I'll have for the moment. Go back to work. Yeah, perfect. I'm slow. I think you're, yeah. I don't have my phone.
Yeah, I just gave you 10, so I'm 3 minutes fast.
Okay, that's all right. So we have just a couple more minutes. So if you haven't done so, start talking about the specifics and see if anything needs to be moved. See if you want to move some stuff on the curve. I'm going to ask people.
Tracy, you want to help?
Sure. Oh, we can do
You
questions?
want to work that side of the room, and I'll work this side?
Got it.
Okay, great. Who's going to
About one more minute.
two first, and once you get that question, whoever gets your attention next, then you just take it from them and go to the next
And he's
person.
controlling the microphone there.
Yes, sir.
On it.
So Drew has something here for you to get one.
Is your micro site like a 0 page? Or like an intranet page?
SharePoint site.
Could be.
This is my function
Yeah.
at my maximum capability
Yeah.
right now. I can do no more than this. Like I
A
could,
lot of times, yeah, it could be.
I could have a job with you guys. We have 3 minutes for Q&A, so he's got no shot. Drew, you ready? Let's go.
Yeah, okay. Hey guys, attention, jazz hands. So we're going to, we've got about 5 minutes or so. So what I'd like to, yeah, I'll get her. Yeah. We're going to wrap up. I'd like to,
If you can hear me, clap 3 times.
oh my God.
You can hear me, clap 3 times. There you go.
Wow. So yeah, so this is a trick that we do. If you can hear me, if you can hear my voice, clap your hands once. If I don't know if you guys have done that. I don't like that, but it works. Like you just saw it, it works, right? So here's what I like to do. I'm interested in some insights. And Christy, can I call you out because you brought up a question that's actually a really great point. So you mind sharing that with everyone? We have a mic, so you can. Yep.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, I was asking have you ever, we all do stakeholder engagement plans, so just right now, we've plotted all our stakeholders, we have 50 of them on an impact influence grid, and then this is a nice way of saying, okay, where's all our key stakeholder groups, current, future state, and then we could plot out all of the engagement activities we already have on the go, and then we're going to hold a session with our sort of steering committee to say what are the gaps in terms of moving that group forward from here to there, group by group, for the key stakeholder groups.
Right.
So just a different way to pull together an engagement plan for your stakeholder groups.
Yeah, so one of the things that, which is great, I wanted Chris to mention that. So oftentimes we will build an activation plan for each of the key audiences because they're different and they have different needs. But all of those will map to an overall activation plan, which may just have more timing segments. Like we're going to do these chunks over this course of time, or at least that's the plan. But then, yeah, so individual stakeholder groups would have their own activation plan. Any other fun insights? I didn't know that happened. Anything from our vodka corner over here? Nothing?
You know what, maybe definitely getting some outside perspective, because we're so heavy in it.
Right.
We thought we did some good change management, but,
Change management was fairly new to us.
Okay.
So getting a perspective on how we could do it more from a personalized manner really, really helps.
Awesome.
It's a nice tool. It's a
Thank you.
nice tool.
Yeah, so her comment was having some outside perspective, right? I think obviously that's why a lot of us even just come to this conference in general, is just having that shared knowledge of things that you may know or not know coming from other folks.
And
You know you need the mic, brother. Come on.
I think that's the purpose of all these tools, is to facilitate that dialogue and
Exactly.
get that input. So don't do it sitting at your desk working on a computer screen. Do it with a group of people who have diverse perspectives, gain alignment,
Right.
get their input. I think that's the purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had, so XPLANE is a visual design consultancy, and so oftentimes I'll get the, oh, you're the guys that do the pretty pictures. Like, yes, and it's all the work that takes to get to that visualization, that animation, that process graphic, whatever the case is. It's all of that work, and to your point, these are the tools that help facilitate that. We do design thinking in that approach, and we visualize that stuff along the way. So it's all that effort. Anything else I have a couple quick things for those of you who don't have the sheets, and then some Q&A, and we're like, yes?
You mentioned design thinking. Do you have any sources or references you can give us to help us grow that capacity ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll give you my card. Sorry. Question was, do we have any resources? So we deployed to design thinking. Do we have any resources? There's a number of resources that are on our website. Come chat with me afterwards. I can give you like the designthinking.com site. Stephanie's a great resource for that information as well. So yes, Stephanie's in the back. Raise your hand. Oh, and by the way, sorry, I'll get 1 second. So Stephanie has a box holding up. If you guys want to put your cards in that on the way out, we'll make sure that you get all of the content if you guys didn't get the sheets today or if you want another copy. Cool? Yes?
Just wanted to thank you for providing such a great and immediately useful tool, because
You're welcome.
even when you think you have a great plan, seeing it, again, another reason why the whole visual piece
Right.
is so important, helps you to really, plotting it out, then you realize where the gaps are, and it seems like a no-brainer, but actually going through the exercise today helped me to see some gaps that I didn't see before. So
That's
thank you.
great. Thank you. Anyone else? We'll be in the room for some individual questions if you guys have any. And we are right at 4. That's awesome.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Cheers.